Okay, we're just coming up. There we go. On the dot, 4 o'clock. Prynawn da pawb. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome along to this Cabinet meeting of Merthyr Tydfil County Borough Council Cabinet on Wednesday, the 2nd of March. So I shall remind everybody that this is obviously being recorded, and I'll move straight into the agenda. Are there any apologies for absence?
I don't think so, Chair. I think everybody's here.
No, thank you. Okay. Secondly, agenda item number 2, colleagues, are there any declarations of interest? No? Okay, great. We'll move straight into the open session then, please. And that is to look at strategic items first off. Agenda item number 3 is the Revenue Budget Monitoring Report 2021-2022, quarter 3. That is to consider a report of the Chief Executive. And I believe, Councillor Chris Davis, you're taking this report.
I am, Chair. Thank you very much. Yeah, so obviously the summary report is contained at section 1. Obviously, the introduction and background in regards to the Council's approach to regularly planning the budget monitoring arrangements of the Council are set out in section 3 of the report, and we're delighted in this Council we hold regular Cabinet and Corporate Management team budget board sessions, which is a really good practice thing. Section 4 of the report then provides detail from Appendix 1 of the summary of the Council's financial projections and budget monitoring to date. Cabinet members and officers will note section 5 outlines the significant detail in respect of the major variances in regards to this quarter 3 budget revenue monitoring report. Obviously happy to take any questions from members in respect of that. And section 6, Chair, outlines the financial implications in regards to the budget, the surplus outturn, and obviously the proposed budget requirements that are needed to assist the 2022-23 budget. So I'll move to the recommendations contained in section 2 of the report, and that the revenue budget monitoring report for the financial year 2021-22, based on the third quarter projections, be accepted by Cabinet. That at 2.2, the budget variants outlined in Appendix 2 be approved. That at section 2.3, managers to urgently address projected budget deficits within their respective service areas, identifying all possible remedial measures to offset those projected deficits be approved. And also that managers at 2.4, managers to continue to monitor all relevant revenue budgets and immediately notify the Chief Financial Officer of potential financial difficulties be approved, and subject to questions and comments. Chair, I so move.
Thank you, Councillor Davis. And do I have a seconder to that report, please?
Happy to second that, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Thomas. Colleagues, are there any questions in relation to this report? No? Okay. Any observations or comments in relation to this report? Councillor Chris Davis.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I just want to obviously firstly put on record, my thanks, Cabinet's thanks to the hard work that's done by the Chief Finance Officer and his team of accountants. And in fact, actually, every budget manager who's contributed to obviously this revenue budget monitoring position. As I alluded to in my introduction, a Cabinet with corporate management team officers have very close monthly oversight of the Council's budget through the budget board process. And I think, it's fair to say that, we do delve in and provide quite a significant level of challenge scrutiny in respect of the budget. The major variances are of real interest, particularly the position in respect of the projected overspend in regards to social services. And I just wanted to comment there, and just that urge of caution, really, whilst that looks like a considerable underspend. What it is important for us to note is that that surplus, quite a considerable sum of it is being supported by hardship fund, which will cease at the 31st of March. And obviously that we need to be planning as we step out of the pandemic, the demand that will be seen on services. So whilst this looks like a considerable net revenue surplus, there are pressures on that as well, pressures in regards to support of homelessness, and we are already having to contribute out of the council's outturn position, support in addition to the monies secured by the Welsh Government. So whilst it looks like a very healthy net revenue surplus, it comes with an air of and a word of caution from me as the portfolio member that we aren't in a land of plenty here in Merthyr Tydfil. We've got considerable demands on the budget now and both into the future. But I just wanted to finally commend and thank all officers for their continued hard work providing good quality public services to the residents of Merthyr Tydfil.
Thank you, Councillor Davis, and thank you especially then for your comments as well. Some really pertinent points there and noted. Okay, in that case then, if there are no further comments, because Councillor Davis has closed that particular section, then we'll move straight to the vote. Can I ask all those in favour to raise their hands, please?
And that's carried, Chair.
Thank you. Just lower them for a moment. We'll move on to agenda item number 4. That is the Capital Monitoring Report 2021-2022, again Q3, and again to consider a report of the Chief Executive. And Councillor Chris Davis, back to you.
Thank you very much, Chair. Yeah, obviously, so we bring in this monitoring report in respect of the Council's Cabinet for Q3 in terms of the capital. Obviously, the introduction is included in section 3. And obviously, the core capital programme was agreed at the Council's Cabinet meeting of the 1st of December, totalling £20.674 million, obviously being financed through the general capital funding received by the Welsh Government. Section 4 of the report, Chair, outlines the core funded projects which are included at Appendix 1, which total just over £8 million. Section 5 then talks about the other capital projects that are being supported, and I think it's fair to say a very exciting and extensive programme of investment into Merthyr Tydfil. This council's a strong commitment to schools and 21st century schools proposals, significant number of projects for economic development and regeneration, which shows its council's ongoing commitment alongside improvement works then that are required as a result of just general maintenance of council's infrastructure, but also recovery from the floods that impacted parts of the county borough as well. So I think a very ambitious and very committed capital programme that looks to secure improvements to the environment and infrastructure across the borough. Section 6 includes the financial implications, and I'm not going to go and read them in any detail, but I'm going to take us leader to the recommendations contained in section 2 of the report, and that's that the Q3 capital monitoring report for 21-22 be noted, that the budget amendments for the core funded projects outlined in section 4.1 of the report and at Appendix 1 and detailed further in Appendix 3, obviously that they be noted, and that the variances to the budget as per paragraph 4.2 also be noted, and subject to questions and comments, I so move.
Thank you, Councillor Davis. And our seconder is?
Good. I'll second that, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Thomas. Okay, colleagues, Councillor Davis has taken us through those recommendations and moved them. So are there any questions in relation to that report? No? Okay, in that case, are there any comments or observations in relation to that report? Councillor Geraint-Thomas.
I thought I'd have to be quick off the draw then, Chair, because Councillor Davis is hovering all the time with his finger. I think we've got to be very thankful that our underspends are, quite low. Due to the pandemic and the period we've been through, it could be a lot worse. So I think we've got to praise our officers for making sure that the work is coming in on time and on budget as well, Chair.
Yes, and I echo those comments as well, Councillor Thomas. Okay, are there any other comments or observations before I bring Councillor Chris Davis in? No, then I'll bring Councillor Chris Davis in.
My apologies, Councillor Thomas, for being a bit quick off the mark and didn't allow you to comment and shutting down the debate last time. Eager beaver, as they say. No, I just wanted to put really on, again, record, the considerable amount of hard work that goes on behind the scenes, particularly by people like Adele and Jeff, who are, key and instrumental in the development of the capital programme, all of the to-in and fro-in and all of the emailing and all of the discussions that go on to get this capital programme to a position where, we are actually delivering really good quality projects and improving the County Borough of Merthyr Tydfil. So just thanks to them in particular, all officers, again, who've got budget management responsibility, who contribute significantly to the capital programme. It's a significant amount and body of work, and just wanted to extend mine and Cabinet's and actually the Council's thanks to everybody for their continued and the difficult circumstances with Brexit and COVID and, who knows whatever else is going to be thrown at us, to continuing to keep plodding on, delivering and, improving the County Borough through this significant capital investment by the Council.
Excellent. Thank you, Councillor Davis, for that. Colleagues, I shall now move straight into the vote. All those in favour, please.
That's carried, Chair.
Okay, we can lower our hands. Great, okie doke. We'll move on to agenda item number 5. That is Budget and Council Tax 2022-23, the Medium Term Financial Plan 2022-23, sorry, 2022-23 to 2025-26 to consider this report of the Chief Executive. And I go again to Councillor Chris Davis.
Thank you, Chair. I'll allow you to put your teeth back in and have 2 minutes. Yeah, okay. So, I'll take us through the summary of the report because I think it really neatly outlines, what the ask is of Cabinet this afternoon. So, obviously, the revisions to the Council's medium-term financial plan 22-23 to 25-26 have been deliberated by the Combined Governance, Audit, Joint Scrutiny Committee, Cabinet and Council over the course of budget setting process. And I think we could be very proud of the lengths we go to engage all members, backbenchers, opposition members. And in fact, actually, someone in Merthyr Tydfil that I'm particularly proud of is the work that we do on items such as important as council tax and budget and scrutiny work is engaging our scrutiny members as well, from our young people to our co-opted members. We note at 1.2 that the provisional local government settlement was announced on the 21st of December, resulting in a funded increase of 9% for Merthyr Tydfil County Borough Council for the financial year 22-23. I think it's fair to say that that come with some caveats, as we've debated. It wasn't a pure 9%. There were significant numbers of restricted ring-fenced budgets in that, in terms of pay award, real living wage for carers and national insurance contributions, which have all been a contributing factor to where we are. But no, we note that the final local government settlement is due on the 1st of March, and we are not intending that there are going to be any revisions to that. So at 3.1 then, the proposed budget requirements for 22-23 is £143.074 million to deliver services to the County Borough of Merthyr. At 1.2 1.4 of the report, then the proposed council tax increase for 22-23 is proposed to be an increase of 1%. In arriving at the budget requirements for 22-23 of that £143.74 million, additional costs we note of 357,000 of those are associated with homelessness and temporary accommodation costs, and the utilisation of 703,000 of an available 800,000 projected surplus outturn for 21-22 are being proposed by council so we can meet our statutory homelessness duties to the residents of the county borough. 1.6, Chair, the report talks about the MTFP, the medium-term financial plan, indicating a projected budget deficit. This is important for members and residents to note as we are webcasting this meeting. We are projecting a budget deficit of £5.464 million for the financial year 22-23, and a cumulative budget deficit of £16.41 million for the 4-year period of this MTFP from 22 to 23 to 25-26. So as you can see, it looks good on paper, a 9% increase, but the challenges to the council are significant over the life of this medium-term financial plan, and that could lead to service cuts in the future. So I think that's quite a sobering point for us to reflect upon in terms of the challenges that we've got during the life of this particular plan. So, Leader, I'm going to move to the recommendations contained in this excellent report that's been put together by the Chief Finance Officer and Chief Accountant. And those recommendations are that a council tax increase of 1% for 22-23, meaning an impact at Band D of a council tax setting of £1,746.27 for the County Borough Council be recommended to full council for approval. At 2.2, that a further additional demands of £357,000 in respect of temporary accommodation homelessness provision costs, as outlined in section 5 of the report, be recommended to full council for approval, and that the utilisation of 703,000 of the projected, I think it's 800,000 for the 21-22 revenue surplus outturn, as outlined again in section 5, be recommended to full council for approval, and that a budget requirement of £143.74 million for the 22-23 net revenue budget be recommended to council for approval, and that at section 2.5, the medium-term financial plan 22-23 to 25-26 be recommended to council for approval. Subject to any questions and or comments, I so move.
Thank you, Councillor Davis. And do I have a seconder for that report, please?
Yes, I'll second that, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Thomas. Colleagues, are there any questions in relation to the report? No? Okay. Any comments or observations in relation to the report? Councillor Geraint-Thomas.
Thank you, Chair. I believe we've been very frugal through our period of administration over the last 4 or 5 years. We've invested quite heavily now back into our services, especially on the front line. And we have a very exciting capital programme over the next 5 years of the MTFP. So, I believe, we are living through a very difficult time with high costs, especially with energy bills and uncertain times. And the proposed 1% council tax rise, I think, is fair, for everybody at this moment. So, Chair, thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Thomas. Okay, Councillor Chris Davis, over to you next then.
If there's no other comments from anybody else, because obviously if I just speak, I will inevitably close the debate, and I don't want to do that because democracy is alive in Merthyr Tydfil, as Councillor Rogers would remind me.
It really is. No, that's fine, Councillor Davis. Nobody else has
Okay.
indicated
No.
to speak, so if you fire away.
Thank you. You know, Leader, I think it's fair to say a considerable amount of work has gone into the preparation of this report by Steve Jones, the Chief Finance Officer, and his team. People don't realise the number of hours that go into you know, preparing these reports, and sometimes they can be a moving feast, day by day, week by week, sometimes even hour by hour, as more and more money is ploughed into the system. So I just want to put on record my thanks, Cabinet thanks and Council thanks to Steve for all the hard work he personally does, his team does, in terms of just the final production preparation of this excellent, you know, you've got to read it. It's absolutely not light bedtime reading. It's very informative reading. It's always, you know, very balanced, very, you know, accurate, and says it to you as it is. You know, Steve, my personal thanks as the portfolio member to you and your team. We've got, you know, not an easy time ahead. As Councillor Thomas said, you know, with all of the pressures on the world at this time, you know, it's not an easy decision for Cabinet to recommend any increase in council tax. But I think if you just look back at section 1.6 of this report in terms of what the projected deficits are going to be during the life of this, you know, medium-term financial plan up to 25-26, you know, a cumulative budget deficit of £16.41 million is, you know, no mean feast for this council to have to you know, endeavour and challenge and work hard to achieve. So yeah, I'm really pleased of the amazing work by officers, and yeah, thank you very much. Diolch yn fawr.
No problem. Diolch, Councillor Davis. Okay, in that case then we'll move straight into the vote, and would all those in favour raise their hands?
And that's carried, Chair.
Great, thank you. Give you just a moment to lower your hands. Okay, colleagues, I move into the portfolio items now. Then I move on to agenda item number 6. And that is the National Collaborative Arrangements for Welsh Local Authority Adoption and Fostering Services, as well as the National Adoption Service for Wales and Foster Wales, Enhancing Governance, Leadership and Enabling Report. That report is being presented to us on behalf of the Chief Officer of Social Services, and I believe the Councillor Tony Rogers, you are taking this report.
I'm worried now, it's a big report. All right, right, summary of the report. To update the proposals for developing the governance enabling for the National Adoption Service of Wales, has assumed responsibility for Foster Wales. To achieve agreement to signing the Joint Committee Agreement for the PRO's Joint Committee. The introduction and the background. The National Adoption Services has been in existence since 2014 and has enabled significant change and improvement in adoption services to Wales, its structure and governance through national, regional and local arrangements, but agreed by all councils at the time. A review in 2018 led to a proposal to streamline governance and improve accountability. The preference of the WLGA and the Association of Directors of Social Services Cymru was that this should be through a joint committee, work in a national joint committee to give proper effect to cooperation oversight of all 22 local authorities has continued. The Pro Joint Committee and the agreement underpinning has been extended to include Foster Wales, as has the capacity and functions for national coordination enabling through a combined central team. The linking to the Joint Committee is critical for Foster Wales, given the lack of legislative basis for such cooperation for fostering services. You see the business case there in front of you, and the Joint Committee will provide the mechanism for all Welsh local authorities to discharge an executive and oversight role of, and it'll be approved or receive. At 4.4 to 4.7, you see the infrastructures and the national enabling national structures, and engagement with stakeholders is important. Local authorities, state members have been kept informed throughout the WGA, most recently during September 21 via the Cabinet members, Social Care and Health, the National Adoption Service Governing Board, the Foster Wales Rights of Children Services, and social service directors via ADC has agreed to the proposal. The proposal has been informed and developed with the full engagement of these key stakeholder groups. The financial and legal implications are there before you, and I must give you the reason for recommendations. Agreeing these proposals and signing the joint committee agreement will put the Merthyr Tydfil County Borough Council Corporation in its collaborative arrangements on a formal basis, and as well as clarifying roles and responsibilities for the hosting and delivery of national functions which support and enable local authority deliveries of their adoption and fostering responsibilities. And so to the recommendations are 2.1 to 2.2, the information contained with the report be considered, and 2.2, the authority signs the joint committee agreement for the National Adoption Service and Foster Wales be improved. Madam Chairman, I so move.
Thank you,
So in the-
Councillor Rogers. Thank you, Councillor Rogers. And do I have a second on that, please?
Yeah, I'm delighted to second this report that looks at collaboration for the National Adoption Services and Foster Wales.
Thank you so much, Councillor Chris Davis. Colleagues, are there any questions in relation to this report? Chris?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yeah, my obviously really welcome this as someone obviously who's involved in this field of work, but also who's sat on Merthyr's historically Foster panel, and also on the VVC, the Vale, Valleys and Cardiff Adoption Management Board that Councillor Rogers now has the pleasure of sitting on, and bringing this together is really, really important. Excellent. In terms of enhancing governance, leadership and an enablement model. My question relates, as you might expect, to the financial implications, and I note at this point that we're not asked for any or there to be any expected costs in respect of individual council's budget, but I just wanted to draw officers' attentions to section 4.4 and 4.6 of the report. We note that the total cost of the national structure just short of £600,000, and that money is available, and the total costs of over £1 million, nearly £1.5 million, is available from the Welsh Government. But my concern relates to section 4.7 of the report about because we've been here with VVC, just coming back for more money as the demand on the service grows. How confident are officers that I note there's commitment from local government, Welsh Government and probably the WLGA, but the affordability of this programme and its success and future is only guaranteed up until the 31st of March 2023. So we need to know now, as we planning for the MTFP, what are going to be the pressures on this. I know you don't have a crystal ball, but whether Lisa or Taryn could provide me with some reassurance and some clarity that this will be sustainable and a model we can drive forward.
I'm just checking, Councillor Davis, yes, Lisa's there.
Yeah, I am, Your Honor, and I know Taryn's on the call as well. I mean, obviously the finance situation, you're aware that there's been difficulties in the past because there has been they've come back for more finances as we've moved on. There are discussions regularly about the financial situation. It is being challenged by the head service about affordability. We are using the adoption service more, I've got to say, in the last couple of months because of the cases going through the court arena. So I do feel we are getting value for money at the moment. But I think Taryn is probably best to place to answer the question about the detail because she sits on the board. I join the board again now next financial year.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, Taryn.
To say that there's always considerable discussions, isn't there, when there are growth requests put in. To be fair, when we look at the VVC and would be replicated for Foster Wales and the fostering programme, that there will always be some requests for growth because there are internal requests for growth in line with uplifts in budgets in general. in terms of looking at this, we don't anticipate that there would be an immediate request for growth, and I know there are some discussions with Wealth Government about how this is funded moving forward. We also have our regional teams that sit underneath that. There's nothing immediately that we would be putting in for budget growth, but it is any requests that come forward, we would have to consider the importance of them, how that impacts our function as a service, and then subsequently make some recommendations or business cases to Cabinet for approval, but there's nothing currently.
Okay, Councillor Davis, did you want to come back there? Thank you, Taryn.
Yeah, thank you for both of you for that. Obviously, you can't predict, you don't know what's now. Obviously, if we've got to come in for growth, you've got to come in for growth. My second question then is in respect of, obviously, this in terms of a national collaborative approach and all Wales approach for we are aware of the regions in respect of VVC and now Foster Wales. Can officers provide reassurances to members that this approach working regionally and nationally won't have any detrimental impact to the service provision that we provide and the support that we provide to the children and young people and the outcomes for children and young people in Merthyr Tydfil?
Yeah, just to pick up on the points raised there, Councillor Davis. So actually this will be of significant benefit to Merthyr Tydfil, and Merthyr Tydfil residents and children will need to become looked after by the local authority. What Foster Wales does is it looks to ensure that if somebody goes forward to foster from a particular region, then they are signposted back to their region for that fostering assessment and to become a foster carer for their region, which actually will support wider closer to home agendas. Working at the scale that Foster Wales does allows us to work competitively, to look at what the offer is across Wales to foster carers and to make sure that that offer is supportive for in-house carer provision moving forward. It also adds a layer of accountability and challenge to one another about making sure that we are supporting our foster carers very robustly. So from a Merthyr perspective, and actually from a local authority perspective in general, this will stand to benefit us in the longer term and will support us support us to work in more line with what private providers are offering our foster carers.
Good, thank you, Taryn. Thank you, Chair. Diolch yn fawr.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you both to Lisa and Taryn as well for answering that. Okay, if there aren't any other questions, then we'll move on to any observations or comments. No? Okay, in that case then, oh, Chris Davis.
Yeah. Yes, Leader. No, thank you to the officers for responding to those questions. Obviously, this is something I absolutely support. You know, in all Wales, a regional approach can be a positive thing, and I feel more reassured now that the outcomes for the children and young people of Merthyr Tydfil will only be excelled, supported, complemented, and you know, taken forward by our work as part of this national collaborative arrangement with VVC and also now the new brand of Foster Wales. We've done amazing things, you know, particularly the incentives that officers, the scheme of incentives officers have brought forward for foster carers, you know, to try to encourage. I've always had this say when I was portfolio member, we want Merthyr Tydfil foster carers for Merthyr Tydfil children. That's something I'm absolutely, you know, really committed to. I know Cabinet and Council generally are committed to that. So if this approach, the brand of Foster Wales, alongside the, as Lisa said, Lisa Curtis-Jones, you know, we have had greater demand on the VVC adoption arrangement and consortium, and if this will add value and secure better outcomes and show solidarity and that united joint force for fostering and adoption as outcome and permanency plans for children and young people, well, I'm you know, all for and committed to that. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you, Councillor Davis. Okay, colleagues, we'll move straight into the vote then, please. All those in favour of this report, please show your hands.
That's carried, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, we move into agenda item number 7, and that is an information and update to receive, information and an update on the development of sport, physical activity and pitch fees in Merthyr Tydfil, to consider a report of the Deputy Chief Executive. And Councillor Geraint Thomas, you're going to take this report.
I am, Chair, and I'm very pleased to bring it as well. As a county borough, Merthyr Tydfil suffers from both obesity and poverty problems, and the council is committed to support our future generations in terms of living healthier lifestyles. And this is set out under the Living Well component of our corporate plan. This cabinet report outlines the changes that have taken place within the Community Regeneration Department since the early stages of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. It explains how active Merthyr Tydfil team has become strategically aligned to the wider department by the development of a structured 4-pillar thematic work stream. The report outlines some of the key successes of the active Merthyr team from the beginning of the pandemic through to the present. The report also highlights work currently being undertaken in relation to assessing council-owned outdoor sporting facilities across the county borough, and in particular highlights the current financial position of sports club in relation to the payment of annual pitch fees. Chair, through the report, you see the introduction and background stretching back to what the work's been done through the active Merthyr team through that period. And if we go then to section 4, sport development and team success, you will note under that heading that since the pandemic, over 100 grant applications be supported by the active Merthyr Tydfil team, amounting to over £400,000 of grant funding being secured. The active Merthyr team were instrumental in accessing over £120,000 to redevelop the running track at Avon Taff High School, which was formerly renamed the John Selwood Community Track after the long-term manager of the leisure services in Merthyr Tydfil County Borough Council and a very close friend of mine. A further £108,000 was raised as well for permanent lighting for the track. Through this period, Chair, we've been speaking to, we started up a Merthyr Tydfil Football Forum, and speaking to the clubs, it's become apparent that the cost of the maintenance fees for those pitches was a deterrent from playing sport. So Chair, what we've done is we've spoke to the Parks Department and the Financial Department in the Merthyr Council. And what we have agreed to do is to waive those fees for the next 4 years or through the life of the MTFP. So in the financial implications in 6th, Chair, the council will approximately, the cost of these pitches is approximately £40,000 a year. And it's already been factored into the MTFP, so over the forthcoming period. So Chair, if I can go to, so it's only good news as well, Chair, for the sporting clubs and the people who take active part in sporting activities throughout the county borough. So if I go to the recommendations, and I'm scrolling back through the report, Chair. Should have a paper copy, really. The recommendations set out in 2.1 and 2.2, the content in the report be acknowledged and noted, and the information provided regarding pitch fees, annual maintenance costs is acknowledged, and as a result, the non-charging of these fees until after the 2025-26 financial year be approved. I so move, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Thomas. Excellent news in those in you moving those recommendations. So do I have a seconder to that report, please?
Yes, please. I'd like to second that. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Councillor Jones. Are there any questions in relation to that report? Councillor Chris Davis.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Absolutely endorse and welcome this report being brought forward by this administration and the hard work of Councillor Thomas. Just wanted to ask, 25-26 won't be far away. the life of this MTFP. I wonder whether if there's somebody here from the Active Merthyr Sports Development Unit who can talk to Cabinet and tell us about what work will be done to support clubs should the council, the next administration, not be in a position to say they can continue this support, and let's hope council can and will be able to. What support and assistance will be provided to clubs to look at their sustainability, to look about how they can fundraise, raise grants to ensure that the sustainability that we are trying to put in place continues beyond the life of the commitment of this council and the current MTFP.
Yeah, if I can take that, there's no one here from Active Merthyr, but as you're aware, Councillor Davis, we've done a substantial amount of work with sports clubs, which was accelerated in a different way through COVID to ensure that voluntary sector grant funding went to the organisation. There's ongoing work with all the sports club in Merthyr, as well as obviously the other social enterprises which are so vital to the town. So that'll be ongoing, and through the course of next year, we'll be highlighting our funded strategy to support the sector.
Great, thank you, Al. Really encouraged by that. Diolch yn fawr.
Thank you both. Councillor Tony Rogers, you have a question.
What on it? I know I got a comment. I haven't got a question.
Bear with me, Councillor Rogers. I may be bringing you in now. Are there any other questions, colleagues? No, then Councillor Tony Rogers, the floor is yours.
What an excellent report. My congratulations to you, Councillor Thomas Geraint and Alan Owen and all the department. This is what has been needed. I'm fed up of seeing football pitches and different pitches mothballed. We want them out there playing. As my record will tell you, for, I don't know, 40, 50 years probably, I got blood all over the different, I probably went living playing on the bont. But I must say that this is an excellent report, and this can now bring people back in. Give them hope now to get these youngsters playing football or rugby or whatever sport. If it's running, I don't mind what it is. But my congratulations, that is great. I'm going to see developments happen now. We don't want these mothball pitches. We want people playing on them. That's the secret. Well done. Thank you.
Here, Councillor Rogers. Thank you for that. And Councillor Chris Davis wishes to speak.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Echo everything, every single word that Councillor Rogers has said. This is so important, and actually it's been a commitment of this administration, of the independent group of Merthyr Tydfil, and Geraint has done a fantastic job. His tenacity and commitment and his passion to this piece of work, nagging officers sometimes, to drive this forward. Now more than ever, with the impact of COVID on people's well-being, on their mental health. Sad to say, another statistic for Merthyr Tydfil, but we do have the highest rate of childhood obesity in the county, in Wales, in this county borough. So I think we absolutely have to be really committed to the future generation, to children and young people, but also to adults as well, and making green spaces, playing fields, available for people to be able to go enjoy organised and unorganised sport, whether it's people just getting together to have a kick around, or more structured, formal, sport and activity through league activities is so important. And I'm very proud of this administration. I just wanted to again say a huge thank you to the team at Active Merthyr, led by Dan Buffton, who's an excellent officer. I know that there's been some work that's been commissioned by external consultants to support this development as well, but I think this is an outstanding commitment and effort of officers and members to commit to this investment into our young people, into our communities, and into the development of sport and physical activity in the county borough.
Well done.
Excellent. Thank you, Councillor Davis. Does anybody else wish to speak on this report? No, in that case, echo all that you've said. It is fantastic news, and therefore, can I ask you to go straight to the vote? All those in favour, please show your hands.
And that's carried, Chair.
Lovely. Okay, if you can take a second to lower your hand, if that's okay. Including myself. There we go. Okay, colleagues, agenda items 8 to 11 are information reports. I'll move on to agenda item number 12, any other business deemed urgent by the chair. Just one courtesy reminder that we do have a very heavy full council at 5:30, and our democratic officers really need to start lining that up at 5:15. So whilst I welcome all of the debate, questioning and comments, can we just be mindful of that? I do apologise. This is about democracy, I know, and really, you know, shouting about all of this positive news, but just wanted to remind you all about that. And lastly, with regards to the Ukrainian conflict at the moment, I shall be addressing full council as your leader this evening. Okay. We'll move on to agenda item number 13, and we need to consider some exempt items now, colleagues. So therefore, I need somebody to move a section 100, please.
I move section 100, Madam Chairman.
Thank you so much, Councillor Rogers, and being so quick off the mark there. And do I have a seconder, please?
Yeah, I second that move of the section 100 to close session, Chair.
Diolch yn fawr, Councillor Davies. Thank you ever
Right,
so
so.
much. Good, no problem. Can I have a vote then, please, to move? It's been moved and seconded for the section 100. So, show of hands.
There you go. You have that moved now, Chair. So if anybody who doesn't need to be part of this meeting could now please leave.
Lovely. Thank you, Monitoring Officer. And I'll just give them